Hi, friends, busy people, and all of you who are tired but still trying, who are probably listening to this while answering emails, driving somewhere, folding laundry, or mentally calculating what you're going to make for dinner later. If that's you, I just want you to know that you are exactly who this conversation is for, because most productivity advice was not designed for people whose lives are already full. And that's the problem. I need to start with a confession, because I am not anti-productivity. I actually love productivity content. I love planners. I love a fresh digital dashboard. I love a color-coded calendar that looks like it belongs in a startup founder's TED Talk. I've read the books. I've tried the time blocking. I've done the 5 a.m. club. I've experimented with inbox zero, habit stacking, Sunday resets, quarterly goal mapping, the whole thing. And here's what I discovered. Every single system works beautifully for about 3 days. 3 magical, glowing, efficient days where I feel like I have hacked adulthood. I wake up early, I drink water, I knock out my hardest task first. I batch my calls, I prep my meals, I answer messages in tidy little windows, and then, inevitably, my real life shows up. A client email comes in that needs immediate attention. A meeting runs long. I didn't sleep well. Someone needs something from me. My energy dips. My brain decides it is not participating today, and suddenly, the system that made me feel like a genius makes me feel like I am failing. For years, I thought that meant I lacked discipline. I thought it meant other people were just better at structure. But eventually, I realized something that changed everything. Most productivity advice is built for people who have a high level of control over their time and very little friction in their day. It assumes predictability. It assumes autonomy. It assumes energy that stays steady. It assumes uninterrupted focus. And for people with full lives, that assumption collapses immediately. When I say full lives, I don't just mean parents or caregivers, although they are absolutely included. I mean anyone juggling multiple roles and responsibilities, people with demanding jobs, people managing their health, people running households, people navigating relationships, people building careers while also trying to maintain friendships, move their bodies, eat real food, maybe have hobbies, maybe rest. The modern adult experience is layered. It's dense, it's noisy, and productivity culture often ignores that density. There's a hidden belief baked into most systems that consistency is always available if you just try hard enough. If you do this every day, you'll see results. If you wake up at the same time, everything will click. If you protect your mornings, you'll win the day. That advice sounds motivating until you live in a reality where your schedule shifts constantly. Research on cognitive load actually shows that when we manage multiple roles and frequent context switching, our mental bandwidth shrinks. Decision fatigue increases. Working memory decreases under stress. So when your life requires constant adjustment, you are not operating with the same cognitive resources as someone whose day is predictable. Let me give you a very real example. I once built what I truly believed was my perfect system. I had a digital task manager synced across devices. I had a paper planner for weekly mapping. I scheduled deep work blocks. I allocated admin time. I even built in buffer time because I was trying to be responsible. I felt organized. I felt capable. And then a normal Tuesday happened. A call went long. A last-minute request appeared. I skipped lunch without meaning to. My workout got pushed back. By the end of the day, I had accomplished more than most people would even see. But when I looked at my planner, half the boxes were unchecked. The system didn't reflect the invisible effort. It didn't count the emotional labor, the strategic thinking, the decision-making, the rapid pivots. It only counted what I had planned. That was the moment I realized that productivity systems often measure output, not effort. And when you live a full life, effort is enormous. You are constantly recalibrating. You are anticipating. You are problem-solving in the background. You are holding mental lists that no one else sees. But because those things aren't always visible in a planner, your brain interprets the gap as failure. That mismatch between effort and measurement is what makes so many capable people feel behind. Then there's the advice that swings in the other direction and says, just do less. And listen, I love the idea of doing less. I would love to Marie Kondo my responsibilities into a minimalist dream. But most people with full lives are not overwhelmed because they are chasing 10 optional hobbies. They are overwhelmed because they are handling necessary things: work tasks that pay the bills, household logistics that keep life functioning, appointments, communication, health management, relationship maintenance. These are not frivolous add-ons. They are structural parts of adulthood. Telling someone to simply do less without changing the structure around them can feel dismissive. One of the biggest shifts that helped me was understanding that productivity is not about time management. It's about energy management. 2 hours of focused work when you are well rested and calm are not equivalent to 2 hours when you are depleted and overstimulated. Our bodies and nervous systems are not machines. Energy fluctuates daily, sometimes hourly. Hormones shift, sleep quality varies, stress accumulates. Yet most systems assume that if something takes 60 minutes on Monday, it will take 60 minutes every day forever. That's just not how humans work. When I stopped asking, "What should I get done today?" and started asking, "What do I realistically have capacity for today?" my relationship with productivity changed completely. On high energy days, I can take on bigger projects. On medium days, I maintain. On low energy days, I protect essentials. Instead of labeling those days as failures, I started recognizing them as part of a rhythm. That alone reduced so much unnecessary guilt. Another area where productivity advice fails people with full lives is around rest. Rest is often framed as something you earn after intense output. It's positioned as a reward, not a requirement. But neuroscience shows that focus requires recovery. Creativity improves when the brain has downtime. Even memory consolidation happens during rest. If your life is already demanding, rest is not indulgent. It's infrastructure. Without it, your performance declines, your patience shortens, and your systems fall apart. There's also the social comparison element. We consume content from entrepreneurs, influencers, CEOs, and high performers who share polished routines. But what we rarely see are the support systems behind them: assistants, flexible schedules, outsourced tasks, financial buffers. When someone says, "I wake up at 5 a.m. and own my day," that might be true, but we need context. What responsibilities are they not carrying? What support do they have? Without that context, we internalize unrealistic standards. So what actually works for people with full lives? In my experience, flexible systems win over rigid ones every time. Instead of building a perfect schedule that collapses at the first disruption, build a system that expects disruption. Leave margin intentionally. Plan for 60 to 70% capacity instead of 100. Create multiple modes: high energy mode, maintenance mode, survival mode. All of them count. It also helps to track effort, not just completion. At the end of the day, instead of only reviewing what boxes were checked, ask what decisions were made, what problems were solved, what friction was handled. When you start acknowledging invisible labor, your sense of competence increases. Another shift is designing for ease instead of optimization. Instead of asking, "How can I squeeze more output from this hour?" ask, "How can I make this hour less draining?" That might mean simplifying tools, reducing notifications, batching communication in a way that protects energy rather than time alone. Optimization culture is obsessed with extracting maximum output. Sustainable productivity is about reducing unnecessary strain. And perhaps most importantly, we need to redefine what productivity even means. If productivity is defined as constant expansion and growth, people with full lives will always feel behind. But if productivity is defined as supporting your responsibilities while protecting your well-being, the equation changes. It becomes about sustainability. It becomes about designing days you can repeat without burning out. If productivity advice makes you feel like a failure more often than it makes you feel capable, that is not a motivation problem. It is a mismatch problem. Your life is not broken. Your brain is not lazy. Your discipline is not deficient. You are navigating complexity. And complexity requires systems that flex. The truth is, productivity for full lives isn't about becoming hyper-efficient. It's about becoming strategic with energy, honest about capacity, and compassionate with fluctuations. It's about building rhythms instead of rigid schedules. It's about recognizing that showing up imperfectly and consistently is more powerful than executing flawlessly for 3 days and then crashing. So if you take one thing from this, let it be this: you don't need better discipline. You need better design. Design that accounts for energy. Design that includes rest. Design that expects interruption. Design that respects your humanity. When productivity becomes supportive instead of punishing, it stops feeling like a constant test you're failing and starts feeling like a tool that actually works for you. And if today all you did was manage your responsibilities, pivot when needed, and keep moving forward in a full and complex life, that counts. That absolutely counts.